Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Daphne Diluce. We're going to be talking about a number of things. She is a filmmaker, a branding expert, a director, a producer, and so much more. Today, we're going to be talking about being that brand expert, a successful business strategist with a remarkable track record in various creative fields, with international experience that she brings a global perspective to their work and incorporating diverse influences and cultural nuances into projects. Beyond her expertise in branding, she's a talented filmmaker, producer, and director. Her passion for storytelling and visual arts adds a unique dimension into the brand creations, allowing them to create captivity narratives and experiences that resonate with audiences. Family holds a special place in her life, and her deep family values inform the approach to her work. She understands the importance of connection, authenticity, building meaningful relationship, which she infuses into every project she undertakes. This perspective brings a warm, personal touch to her brand creations, creating a sense of familiarity and reliability. And you know, on top of that, folks, she's got a podcast coming out very, very soon, starting one called The Intention of the Soul podcast. We're going to talk all about that as well. But she's a Libran. We're both on October 6th, and that's very rare to come across another fellow Libran. So we're going to try and stay in balance here today. Seesaw back and forth. Welcome to the show, Han.
Thank you so much. What an introduction. I'm thinking, who's she talking about? But that is me.
I love the fact that, you know, the family values, you know, that core. I mean, definitely, you know, when somebody comes from the soul, it's that divine wisdom. It resonates with the heart truth, right? And when you come from that space, not are you very clear on why you're doing it. You're very clear on what you have to do, because that's the compass, isn't it?
Exactly. And it is for me, you know, as a little girl, I always had this really strong compass about love. And that's and also about actually being organized and getting things done. And even as a little child, my family around me used to tell me all sorts of things to say I couldn't, because I would say things like, I fly with eagles, I don't scratch with chickens. And I was 11. So this family thing, you know, started at a very early age. And I'm a big family person. Yeah. But the humanity is also our family.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if we could look at it that way, you know, it's like you have a big family, you're not going to get along with everyone or agree with everyone, but the core respect of, you know, of their family. And if we could look at each other, you know, bloodline or not, and look at each other, I may not agree, or I may not like the path that you've taken, but why should I turn around and hate you? I can wish you well on your journey. May the spirit guide you, right? But
exactly. And also too, but I think what's wrong with a good discussion or a debate?
Yes.
You know, and I have this actually with my brother. We are so opposite. I don't know, somebody swapped us all at birth.
I have that with my sister, chalk and cheese.
We are so opposite sides of the fence. But we love each other very much, and we have such fun in challenge and debates. And then we say, well, you're entitled to think what you think. This is my view on it. And I think you learn from family members or friends or people who are different to you. And that's the secret. I think it's a very wise thing to be a great observer. And I love Stephen Covey's saying, seek to understand first before being understood.
Yes.
Very wise, Stephen, very wise.
Yeah. But there's also the other fact too that some people just may not get you. I have a sister like that, right? She kind of gets, she's now telling me, oh, you could do your podcast here. I've been doing it for the last 12 years, and she's finally catching up to what I do. And we have completely opposites in politics and view of life and everything. So what we've done and what I've channeled to do is find a common denominator. Where we do share the same values, where we can communicate, where we can be at peace with each other. Because if we step outside the other fence, because she's on completely the opposite side of fence in many things, it's not going to be seen or heard, right? So I find that sometimes you can have a debate with someone. You can have that healthy conversation and respect each other's opinion and learn from it. But there's some people you simply can't. So where can you have that communication and stay in that lane where you can enjoy that person, but don't expect them to understand who you are, why you are, and what you're doing or what your philosophy is? They're not ready for it yet.
Well, also too, everybody's got free will, and we don't. I'm always very respectful. Instead of trying to prove anything to anyone, I take action and I do stuff, and I let my actions and the things that I do in life be my language. Because and I would be very quiet as well as I can talk a lot. I'm very enthusiastic about lots of things in life, but I can be incredibly quiet. And sometimes, when there's people that are they have a need to some people just take all the oxygen out of the room. They need to be the noisiest one or have everything or be, and when there's people around that like that, I just observe and just let them get on with it. And that's fine. And the world is huge, the universe is huge, there's room for all of us. But I do think that it's wise to be a great observer.
I agree with you.
And then when you observe things, I think contemplation is also wise. My favorite place to contemplate is in the bath. Right, so wash off the day and contemplate and recycle my thoughts, because we don't always know in that moment. It's good to contemplate,
and I think in this busy day, water is a conduit.
It absolutely is.
Whether you take that shower or swimming in the water or whatever, there's something about water that it's not just cleaning the body, it's washing away things that don't matter. It's actually feeding you, knowledge, wisdom that you actually do need. And so, I do EFT, tapping in the shower, right? And I find it so impactful while the water is running down, kind of washing away the angst, the stress or the anything else. And, you're addressing that. And then with the tapping, you are then, asking, for the wisdom to come forth. And I think, there are so many beautiful things out there that are our support. We've got to find where that little safe haven is that we can decompress and embrace.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think it's like I always say to people, give yourself what you need to succeed. But this contemplation thing is like really serious because we are so bombarded with messaging everywhere and so many distractions. I do notice that humanity is speeding up, but having less and less time just to be. And that can be even for 10 minutes. But that's where, there's lots of choices around us. And I think it's about finding a place in your busy day to do something divine. So whether it's tapping in the shower, contemplating in the bubble bath, or whatever it is, or even, this might sound crazy to say, but sometimes when I'm just overloaded with stress, work, or whatever, if I just clean the kitchen or scrub the oven, by the time I've done it, it's just like I can put the world to rights. It's something that I just stop thinking about everything, let it go, and actually physically do something. It's magical. Yeah. Anyway, as you can imagine, I've got a very shiny oven.
For me, it's the grandkids. I am actually
Yeah.
moving closer to them at the end of April, where I will have them at least 1 or 2 days a week, and they'll be 10 minutes away from me. And it doesn't matter what's going on or how overloaded I am and all the things I've got to do. I pick them up, put them in my arms, and that's it. I am with them. I am so totally present with them in their little world. And then when I come out of that, my heart is full. My heart is so
Oh, it's
full. I've
beautiful.
I've taken a beautiful cosmic deep breath, and then I can come back to what I need to, and I'm calmer and clearer.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I also, I think, well, if you're lucky enough to have children, if you're lucky enough to have grandchildren, not everybody wants
No,
children.
no, and not
And
everybody
some,
should. It's not a
no,
have to. Yeah.
no, no, and it's absolutely okay. Whatever you are out there doing with whether you with your thoughts, whether you want to parent or not. But I think those who do, um, and we choose the path, I think it's a delightful thing. And people always used to say to me, "Oh, when you get your first grandchild, you're going to love them."
Mhm,
And I thought, "Oh, okay." I'm sure I will because I adore my children. I've got
mhm.
three, and they're all my
Lovely.
best friends. Um, Oh, when I first met my grand little baby, the first one, I didn't only love him like incredibly, I loved life like a
Yes.
hundred times more. It's just
Yes.
like, oh, and I've turned into this woman who, like, well, I'm not trying to save the world, but I do a lot to impact the world because I'm so driven and motivated for these beautiful children,
I
you know.
100% agree. And it's very hard to describe to people what being a grandparent is opposed to being a parent, unless you're a
Mm,
grandparent, then you get it. I
exactly.
waited, to be 66 to have a grandchild. And then finally I have two. One just turned 3, one's turning 1 this coming month. And
Oh,
it's like holding them. And I think what it is, we're not responsible for 24 hours a day, right?
mm,
We're there to absorb and look after them when we look after them, be with them. And it's to observe them. How much do
yeah.
we learn from our grandchildren, right? Just the
Exactly.
simple joy of their play or of being engrossed in something, the silly billies that we've forgotten to be, right? All these
Yeah,
wonderful things. And I think there's so much to learn from just being still and observing, whether it's children, whether it's puppy dogs or cats, whether it's nature and the wind blowing through the trees or ocean washing up against the shore. Find a place to be
absolutely.
still.
Also, I think with children, especially when it's a beautiful thing. But what I really, really noticed is the eyes of children, well, especially my children, but also people. And they say the eyes are the windows of the soul. But there's something very beautiful looking into the people that you love into their eyes and take the time to look. It's incredible because, oh, you can just see so much,
Yes.
you know?
I'm going to be shameless here because this is an awareness and a fundraiser, but I have a book here, which is an anthology with 14 people join me in this book about what we need to do to change the system around raising our children and how we need to support parents and how we need to support our children and where they need to be in the future. And our current, schooling and society isn't doing that. And it's our forgotten children. And it's about that. It's about um, we're in a lot of disarray at the present moment, and a lot of people are in self-discovery of who are they, where did they fit into this world. And a lot of people are still carrying wounded children with them, the child inside. And we look at where we're at right now, and I feel these are our leaders in the future, but they are lost. They are so lost. We've let them down. And so we really need to go back to the beginning, our young children and the way we raise them, the way we support them, the wisdom that they are, instead of trying to conform them. I think an awful lot of people's problem in life is this: you should, you must, you've got to do it this way. You only count if. And we're crippling society in that way, aren't we?
Well, my take on it is it's just how I brought up my children was through inspiration, not domination.
Yes,
And
yes.
also there was like the picture behind me says a lot about kind of my values.
Pink fluffy
One
clouds and a beautiful moon.
Well, the thing is, one of my assistants, he said, "Oh, this that really sums you up, Daphne, that background." But for me, it's about the creative mass, and it's about the soul. And when you have a child, they come into this world with their own creative mass and their soul. And as parents and guardians and guides and teachers and people who inspire and leaders, it's about actually helping people actually be who they are. Let them
Yes.
use their skills. Let them talk, hear them, let them express. And I've brought three children up very, very, they're all doing great. So that must be the test. But the thing is, I think it's so important to let people be. My mum, she's been gone now nearly 20 years, but she always used to say, feed them, love them, and leave them alone. And I think that was a great thing. It's just like, feed their souls, feed them with food, love them, and I also think guiding the children with kind of like tasks, not chores, but tasks where they can actually learn and feel good about a sense of achievement.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on a very serious note, instead of preaching how people should bring up their children, I think it's about looking after the child inside yourself.
Yes, 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 yes.
And I think that sometimes, life isn't perfect, people aren't perfect, situations can be very challenging. But you know what? We know ourselves better than anybody. So why not be your own mum and dad? You know?
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
yourself a good talking to, or give yourself what you need to succeed. And you don't need to be telling anybody stuff. Just make your little lists and do that. That is so powerful. And I see it in many of my clients that sometimes you can see a discombobulation in their spirit. And it's not to criticize them, but when you kind of scratch the surface a little bit, you can find very unhappy children or wounded children or
Yes,
traumatized children.
yes,
But they're amazing human beings.
yes.
So,
And
and I
it's
think,
acknowledging that inner child, isn't it? Is it,
yes, it's
I've got you. I hear you.
yeah,
I'm here for you,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
It's the
And I
child never
think
had a
that,
voice.
yes, and I think a lot of people, I call it outside in
Yes,
living.
yes.
I think it's about living inside out living. It's about
Absolutely.
listening
Absolutely.
to your heart and soul,
Hmm.
giving yourself a time. And even when you've got no time, you can do it on the loo or in the shower.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And pausing to be present is essential. Like
Yeah,
people don't understand how much you get from nothingness, from doing nothing, right? Because
exactly.
because you need to kind of switch off from all the ba, 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 right?
Attachment. Yeah, yeah.
And in doing just absolutely nothing, I'm moving closer to my daughter. They bought me a home. That's how lucky I am. But I've been driving between cities to go and see them, and it's a
Mm,
beautiful drive. But I'm on automatic. My mind knows where I'm going. So that
mm,
is one part of me that is driving, and I'm just like looking at the leaves and looking at the water and looking at this and that, and just allowing whatever to come running through my mind, and just no dictating, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. No, just I'm with
mm,
the trees on the light on those leaves. I'm with the water
exactly.
shining over there.
Well, that's a beautiful thing to do, but not everybody is wired like that or
No,
capable of it.
it takes
But I think,
training.
well, I think a good way to actually give example to many is to think of a champagne fountain, and those glasses where that they're all piled up and
Yeah.
they're empty, and then
Hmm.
suddenly this sparkling champagne comes drizzling down. And I think that's the thing that is a wonderful way to think about that. Empty all your glasses,
Hmm.
stack them up, and because they're empty, there's inspirational new ideas can come
Mm.
tumbling down.
Yes.
But if you've got one kind of like cup of coffee or tea there filled and it's been there for days or months, how can anything new or fresh come in? You
Right.
have to empty yourself. So you can do that by detaching, but I think it's about doing life on purpose.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
think it's about taking control of your head, your mind, and
Yes.
say, okay, mind, thanks a lot. thanks for your subconscious and your conscious stuff, but actually, I have something to say here.
Yeah.
And give yourself, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical stimulation and fill yourself with the things that make you happy. And that actually make you tick. Some people it might be food, some people it might be physical stuff or reading or conversation or touch, whatever it is.
Yes.
But the thing is, if you don't tune in and dial into you, how are you going to feel good?
Exactly.
Nobody comes. I've always said to my children, if you think life is going to come and the big lover's going to come, the husband, the wife, the job, the house, if you think it's just going to come, you'll be standing there freezing, right? So no one's coming. It's up to you to get up and go to get up and create. Yeah.
And a lot of
And
people think manifestation is like an Amazon delivery, that it's just going to, I manifest it, so it's going to be here. No, I'm very much about the soul wisdom, the universal wisdom, and it could be God, universe, spirit, energy, source, whatever you wish to call it. And that it comes through in its wisdom and it gives it to your heart in truth. And your heart gives it to your spirit into action, which then ignites the mind to know what it needs to know when it needs to know it, extracting what it is you need to do in this moment to use this wisdom, right? And
exactly.
if we can get out of our head, a lot of people are so in their head, yes, but what if? Yes, but what if? And the soul goes, yes, but what if? And we don't give the soul enough volume.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I would agree. But there are a lot of people out there that are full of toxicity.
Yes.
And the reason that is, it's from all sorts of things, whether it's food, relationship, or their chemical imbalances, and it happens to all humans. But the thing is, sleep is so important.
Yes.
And I think some people, they worry a lot. And some people dramatize a lot. And I always, but I go frontline head on into the problem. So the thing is, I never used to inspired all the time, which I am. But with my partner of 6 years now, he comes from a very dark past. So it was like an enforcement of you will look at this darkness. And then what I've done is I've looked at so much darkness over the last 6 years, only to find that when you actually go through darkness head on, it actually explodes into light.
Yes.
And I think that this is what I would encourage people to do, whether they're having a tough time in their business or relationships or life, is not put their head in the sand, but whatever that problem is, face it, pick it up, make that call, have that challenging conversation, because we actually don't know. And that's where the higher powers do come in and guide. The voices do, you just feel it. And also it's if you're not sure about that, practice on smaller things.
Yeah.
But it's so important actually just to kind of walk through the difficulty and call it out.
I 100,000,000% agree with you. We have to go through the process. It's discovering our courage, discovering our strength, discovering our abilities. And through that, we actually discover our meaningful purpose. But we have to be willing to take the journey. I was lost for about 8 years in my life, and I was in that darkness, and I could see the light, and it was inviting me, but I felt safe in the dark. And that's because I was going through something rather tumultuous at the time. When I did come out, at first, I was blinded by the light, and I felt the shadows were chasing me, wanting to pull me back. And then I realized those shadows weren't shadows anymore. They were contouring and giving shape to the light. I can now go back into that dark at any time, for I am the light. And I can shed light on that darkness in order to see clarity. And it's only because I was willing to walk forward, willing to discover, willing and allowing the universe to show me a path. And a great deal of it is surrender. You can't control this in a sense. I'm going to control my every step. The control comes in the surrendering, to allowing yourself to go through, to feel and experience, to release, to acknowledge, to discover, and all of that. And when you get to the other end, It's absolutely, oh my God, I've been selling myself short for so long. I
Yeah.
could
Well,
have done this
I
a long
just,
time ago.
yeah, I describe it as, I say life is art in motion.
Yeah.
And when you have a masterpiece, you have light, dark, and shadow.
Hmm.
You cannot have a beautiful piece of art without those things.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, as that's, I think that's my analogy for kind of, walking a real life. And also if you watch the nature as well, and you look at how, you've got sunrise, you've got the day, you've got twilight, well, you've got sunset and twilight. Now, often in those twilight hours, the world can look so beautiful,
Hmm.
and then it suddenly falls into darkness. And that's another thing I encourage all humans to actually, learn about nature, not necessarily be in it and not know anything about it, or even eat things from the earth, and we are part of everything, and not
Hmm.
even understand. It's just like when you go into nature, how you learn to sail a little boat, even in a pond, or
Hmm.
whether you're on it, whether you're you know what to do with food or understand how to do things. When you learn all of that, it just connects you to everything that is wonderful,
Yes,
you know. um
absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
why do we have four seasons? You know, things come to an end so that they can become anew. And we have seasons in our
exactly.
own life. We have
Well,
chapters that
it's
come
it's
to an
all
end.
it's all teaching. It's all, we've got this fantastic universal school all around us
Yes,
that we
exactly.
have to kind of like look.
Yeah. Oh, take the blinkers off, right? And it's all about our own soul and conscious growth. Everything that we are doing as human beings is for to ignite our consciousness to a higher level of understanding. You know, we are only scratching the surface on soul and spirit wisdom and what it actually means. And I think a great deal of our technology that's coming into the world is to free us up as human beings on certain things we do, to allow us to rise up to that higher consciousness in being who we're meant to be.
Well, I think the thing is, it's about, to take it down to a very simple, practical level, is that to remind people that they will never know how wonderful they truly are
Mm.
unless they take those steps forward.
Yes.
And the thing is, that's what I'm going to quote my mum again. She always used to say, "Oh, Daphne, you always see the good in people. You shouldn't see the good. There's other, people have shadows." And I would never listen. And I just carried on seeing the good in people
Mm.
because I know ultimately in their soul, that's what it is. There's only love.
But that's your
But
gift. That's your gift
mm,
because you see the good in people, you know how to show them. How many people just don't know what's inside of them, right? Because they've been
well,
living the should and the expectation of the outside life.
exactly.
So your
Well,
gift
that,
is to
that
show them how beautiful they are on the inside and to bring that out.
well, isn't what I spend a lot of time doing in my daily activities is helping people unprogram toxicity and negative learning to trace their authentic divine self and bring forward their skills. And this is the one, and the way I do that in many mediums, but the strongest medium I do that is in brand creation.
Mm.
And there's so much soul in brand creation. That's why I created Intention of the Soul podcast.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's a lot about branding, but it's about humans and it's about creativity
Well,
and
that branding
everything
is
that
your
we're talking
statement,
about.
isn't it? Right? Branding
Yeah,
is
everybody has their personal brand and it's their
exactly.
value
Yes,
exchange. It's,
yes.
it's also reciprocity. And that's a word, some people say, what does reciprocity mean? And I say, well, it's good to look it up, but it means, a meaningful exchange of good value. And it's got so much light in it, that word and that action. Because there's a lot of people that measure things. That's right, that's wrong. I'm not giving that. I'm not doing that. What's in it for me? So if you get into those places, which sometimes, like if you're a lawyer and you're actually writing a contract, okay, go
Yes,
be analytical.
yes.
But when you're with another human, you could be missing out on so much joy from
Yeah.
that person. And it's just take a little step of kindness each way.
Oh boy. lighten up, right? For a start,
Yeah.
lighten up. Everybody makes everything so heavy. Um, and gosh, caring and kindness. That when you start to care, you become kinder. And when you're
Mm,
kinder, you have more compassion. And when you have more
mm,
compassion, you step more into love, right? But what
exactly.
does it take to smile at someone? Really? And how much could that make that person's day who's having a bad day?
Yes, but the thing is, well, I know that everybody has so much goodness into them, but the thing is, I think it's about you have to make sure you're not discombobulated. I
Yes,
love that word,
I do
right?
too. You don't hear it very
Yeah,
much here in North
yeah.
America. I love
And
it.
many people are discombobulated, but they don't realize it.
Yeah,
But when they start to listen to their own words and their venting and their frustrations or their comments and they just write them down, then they can see, oh, perhaps something's missing. And you know what? It's okay to find good people to help you,
it is.
because we can't always see ourselves. We can't always know if we're discombobulated. We can't always know if we could do our business better. And today, with a client, they're very, very, very special person and so capable. But I got very strict with this person. I said, no, you're not going to do that now because you're selling yourself short. You've got 1 hour to do this, and that's where your money pot is. Well, you should have seen their face. Anyway, after 45 minutes, they were laughing, giggling, saying, oh, why didn't I do this years ago? Why couldn't I find this years ago? And I said, well, look, you found it now, so let's just get on with it.
Exactly.
Um,
That's the point, isn't it? You've got it
yeah,
now. And I think that what people don't understand about branding, everybody thinks it's like just branding your business. Now, how many times do I interview people? I look at their site and I look at their logos and I look at everything else, and then I meet them and I go, nothing about that represents you. You've hired someone to do something that very, very nice, but where are you in it? Where's the essence of you
exactly.
in it? And that's the thing about branding. It's got to represent something of who and what you are.
Well, it depends from what perspective you're coming in brand, because there are a lot of like what I call digital agencies where they're very large, they're very expensive,
Yes.
and they have their processes and all their departments. And that's a big deal that has to be paid for. So what happens there, authenticity goes. Now, I know I'm the most unique brand person in the whole world, and I know that. And the same as there's only one Daphne Diluce in the world, because where I start is from the authentic self and the
Yes.
soul,
Yes.
right?
We all
So
have a soul identity. It's a soul DNA.
yes, but we all carry our gifts with us. We
Hmm.
have it in our soul. But the thing is, as a human, we can be learned, we can train to do things.
Hmm.
But I've seen it over and over and over again. I've tested this for over 30 years. I really have, right across the world in so many different forms and projects. And the thing is, every person has something absolutely amazing. And every human is a part of God's code.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah? And that's why when you find these dream teams, it's just like you've got these kind of like beautiful pictures. And maybe that dream team is only going to do a project for 3 years. But then it's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's one beautiful project, 3 year project, all
Hmm.
the different parts, which are absolutely perfect. And then you can take it apart and you can do another one. But I do believe that's how the creator has designed it. So not one person holds a whole code. It's
Right.
about
Right.
humanity,
And
collaboration.
not one person is meant to have the whole code. It's too much
No,
burden on one person. The whole
exactly.
beautiful thing is that I draw the analogy to an orchestra. So we're each in discovery of what our instrument is, and we learn how to play it the very best we can, and we can play it beautifully as a solo. But when we come together as an orchestra, each one of us in our own strength, and we play harmoniously together, look how we transcend that music and that message,
Exactly.
right? So it's important that we know what we represent. And then when you're building that team, they're the other
Exactly.
piece in the orchestra, right? Because we want to be in harmony.
Exactly. And I think it also goes with kind of then looking at groups and how do groups function. And when you take the analogy of an orchestra, then you've got the wonderful guy with the stick. And I feel that's who I am. You know, I can
Hmm.
make all those notes in the orchestra. I
Hmm.
can make the sweeter ones sweeter, the dramatic ones more
Yes.
dramatic. And the thing is, there's different archetypes in this world. We all have different jobs. But it's delicious. It's just also wonderful when you can actually surf in your consciousness and
Mm.
surf in, you know, creation and co-create.
A big buffet. You know,
Oh, it's a huge party.
yeah, exactly. And you're not going to partake of every single ingredient on the buffet,
Well,
but
you don't need to
you
even.
don't need to. That's the beauty of it. And you're not offending anybody by not partaking of that dish, right? It is, but all of it will get eaten because it's delicious. And you know,
Mm,
everything has an energy signature. And when there is
mm,
positive, loving energy in something, it fortifies everyone. So in
mm,
our brand, in our presence, in the way we present ourselves, that essence of why we're doing it, whom we're
mm.
doing it for, because we're all contributors. And I think the big thing to ask people, you know, is why are you doing it? And if it's, well, with fame and fortune, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. You will not succeed. But when is it because I'm driven to do it? I'm compelled to do it. I love
Well,
doing it. Then you've got the
yeah,
fuel.
I see what you're saying, but with my practice, I see many different souls show up in many different ways. And then some people, they come on a journey of rich and famous and famous. And then in their journey with me, they find out that perhaps there's something else that's more
Yes.
fulfilling. And
Yes.
then there's somebody that doesn't want to be famous, but finds that actually it's their dharma too, because they've got a very strong method, or they've got very strong chakra and very throat chakra and very, very high level communication skills. So that all these souls are really, really different. But there's one problem that I see with branding and people, no matter how lovely they are. And even I also see with other colleagues from other agencies, they have the same thing, which is you really need to take your glasses off. It's too many people just try to create brands that they like. And what a brand is, it's not about you, it's what you can do for other people.
Hmm.
So if you like, for example, yes, I'm loving the pink and enjoy my background, but I'm not putting that on other people's branding
Right.
because I like it. And you get this over and over again. You'll get Debbie saying, "Oh, but I like blue." And then you'll get Robert saying, "Oh, no, I couldn't do anything else but apart from burgundy. That's my color." And then I have to tell them very, very nicely, it's got nothing to do with them. And that's being selfish. And it's
Mhm.
about opening up to an expansive mind of what real branding is about. I have many people that kind of pull amazing faces at me, but I love it. And I am mostly fearless. I'm respectively, I've got respect for some fear that you have to have in this world, but mostly I'm fearless
Mm.
when it comes to creativeness and also helping people heal, helping people transcend, transform, and to actually, really improve their life and their business, and for them to get what they need in
Right.
that moment.
So, you know,
Yeah.
there are people that, you know, specialize in branding and the person comes to them, they have a chat and they create a brand. What you're doing is getting in touch with their soul, bringing out their soul essence, the essence of who they are and what they're doing. And then the branding comes as that representation of what they're doing and the invitation to whom they are offering it to.
Well, it's a very interesting process, and I have to say that everybody is a little bit different.
Hmm.
But in my practice, there's space for them to be themselves. I don't have like one methodology that I stick on someone, but I'm going to give you an example of one amazing guy, and he was called Craig, and Craig thought that he was an inventor. So he had like 13 inventions. So I had these long list of inventions, and he was very serious. He didn't smile much. He didn't look up much. Anyway, a year later, he doesn't talk about himself as an inventor. He's got kind of an energy management company, and he's got what we've got going on there in his website. It's Guardian of the Sky, Guardian of the Sea, and Guardian of the Land. And he's doing incredible things with carbon footprint. And already we've made, just creating the brand, we've actually had an impact on carbon footprint.
Wow.
So now what I've got him, he's gathering other guardians who do wonderful technology and energy resourcing. And he's also got a monetization model where he's actually making money. So instead of having a pile of dusty old inventions where he'd spend a fortune on trademarks, all sorts of marketing, things like that. I mean, it would just put huge ball and chain on not only on his legs, but on his arms and his neck. That's, and on the day when I said, no, we're going to turn this upside down. We're not going to do heavy lifting up. We're going to do brilliance from the top, and we're shining down. And now, he's not interested in the inventions because he realized, he said, this is like amazing, and this is a miracle, and it's all coming together, and it's all real, and it's real. And I said, well, of course it's real. But that's the thing, is also I'm a real professional. I know how to do things. So I could do a lot of heavy lifting for people. And then when we're going through all the processes and the builds, then their soul starts to sing and dance.
Yes.
So it's not like, I'm going to find your soul first and then we'll do it. It's not like that. It's a lovely process
of discovery.
Of discovery and creative mass, building things that work and function, and having the graphics and the artwork that tell the story in 3 seconds.
And that, that's the thing, isn't it? Is we see things from a certain perspective of our understanding, our comprehension, but when somebody else comes at it from a different angle, and it's like, I've never thought about that. I didn't even think people saw it like that. And that's what we need. We need somebody to see things from a different angle, see things from a different point of view, because we get too bogged down in what it means to us that we don't always know what it means to everyone else.
Well, the thing is, my background, I've studied all my life. I've studied humans and design all my life. And I was, for 28 years, a design and builder. So I went right through the world, and I was drawing buildings with CAD design, drawing the buildings, the layout, designing the furniture, having it made. I had a soft furnishings manufacturer at one point. And I went right through Europe building high-rise office blocks and designing the people and the businesses inside them. So the thing is, there's a lot of psychology and branding and design and build. So when you go, and also the brain is amazing, because the brain will look for things and do things naturally. Like, for example, I remember one shop that I did a makeover, their takings went up in the first week afterwards, 27%.
Wow.
And they said, how did you do that? I mean, you just put some lights in and move things around. I said, we have to understand where humans flow, how they flow, how they feel, what they see.
Yes.
Right? So
that flow of energy. So the fluidity is so very important, isn't it?
We're also programmed, we're hardwired as humans. So yeah, I have a lot of professional experience, and I say I have 12 superpowers. So then I bring that into the brand process. And I think this is also, like, I know this is why I'm very, very different to an average branding digital agency. But then going into film, it's exciting because I get people in the studio. I don't even use a script. I've got an artful way that they just bring them to life, and then they've got their branded content, and they say, "How did you get that out of me? I didn't even see I could do that," And I love it, because
it's your magic wand. You know how to do
it. There's nothing more satisfying.
Yes.
Than people kind of looking at themselves, and it's a bit like the ugly duckling and the swan. Not that any of my clients are ugly ducklings, they're not, they're all fabulous, But even, I mean, I've even had those moments myself in my evolution growth as a human, as a woman, as a mother, as a person, whatever thing. I've had moments when I realized that I thought I was a little ugly duckling. And
Yes.
then I thought, oh, you're not an ugly duckling. You're actually a champion dancer. Okay. But because of I'm very humble, it takes me a while to go, okay, award-winning designer. Well, who gave you award? What's that mean?
Yes.
But you have these moments and going, okay, I am a swan. So I'm going to be a swan now and I can swan down the lake, right? And hopefully find other swans to swan around with, right? And that's a beautiful thing. So people can actually see their beauty, see their potential,
Yes.
and go on their wonderful journeys.
I think that's what, and this is what self-discovery wisdom is all about. It's about people who offer services like you do to help people in their self-discovery. We have
Yes.
a book coming up in the fall. It's about to go into invitation to coaches, where it is actually coaching your self-discovery. And it's going to be a series of coaches and each what they do in helping people in their self-discovery, whether it's health, business, or just life or heart and soul. We're all in discovery of who we are, what we're here to do, and whom it has an impact on. And when it does have an impact, where you
Exactly.
can see someone's life change, like
Mm,
somebody suddenly kind of the light bulb goes on and they start to see things differently because we
mm,
limit ourselves in just the human aspect of living. We limit ourselves all the time. You
mm,
can't do this. No, don't do that. Fear gets in the way. I believe in common sense fear. Don't put your hand in the
mm,
fire. Don't walk in front of the bus. Take your
mm,
common sense fear. Instead of being afraid of the unknown, look at it as wonderment and as exploration. Let your common sense fear travel with you because that'll keep you out of trouble and keep you safe. But if we don't open up to that wonderment, we're always going to live in limitations. And we're
mm.
so beautifully flawsome and unlimited when somebody waves that magic wand and taps us on the shoulders and shows us who we really are.
Well, I think what is wonderful as a little girl, I always saw this vision in my mind's eye, and it was a world with a net over it with lots of sparkly points on intersections of the net. And I used to dream about this graphic, or it was even moving, and I just never really knew what it was. But when I started to grow up and really get into what I was doing, I realized what that was. And I thought, oh, these are all my clients all over the world. And I'm going as fast as I can to turn them all on like lights because they're turning other people on.
Yes, yes, the
Like the
ripple effect.
therapist.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
like the guy with the energy, the woman who's fighting against sexual child abuse and stopping that. And oh my goodness, I do all sorts of deep things. Also, what else? Oh yeah, like one woman, she had her husband left her. She was left with nothing. She didn't have any money to do any branding, but we raised some money from um, a local government had like an initiative going on, and we got the money for that. She turned over her first million this last year, and that was 18 months in.
Excellent.
Like, and now
Excellent.
she's doing so much to help people. And then a Project 9010, she her first talk raised £266,000 for children in need.
Ah,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant.
So
You see, but
so
that's what
the
you
thing,
just need somebody there. So, because so many people, I would love to do that, but I'm just one person. Well, if you
but
become
it
the inspiration, you become the invitation, right? And so many
well,
people don't
you
don't
never
let
know.
themselves to be, to inspire. Inspire yourself.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Well,
wonderful
a
when
lot.
somebody discovers what they can be and what they can do because they took the
Well,
chains off?
yeah. Well, there's a couple those with the Project 9010, and also the girl who turned over her first million. They all came from very dark experiences. And
Mm,
this is where, I just, held the hand and said, okay, I can't, it's not possible for me to kind of work for free.
right.
I wish I could. I often make jokes and saying, oh, can I be like one of those, like, you know, cats that lay on the cushion and I can just kind of go like that and like that and just someone else is paying for the cushion. Where's my food? Right? That would be nice. and I of course have to pay staff and do things like that. So, but there's always a way to help people to say,
Yes.
well, look, is there a grant, or if you did this, could you raise some money with that? It's
Yeah.
about being proactive and
Yes.
help. But also what I know is that when you commit to an idea and you
Mhm.
start doing the work, the money shows up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very often any form of anxiety becomes the barrier because again, all that energy is in flow. When you believe and you're doing things for the right intent, that the soul and the universe picks that up and it will present what it is you need in order to do. But when we are in anxiety or depression or fear, we crunch down. There is no fluidity, there is no clarity, and we're
Mm.
projecting that fear out rather than the invitation.
Also, I agree with you, and congratulations on all your wonderful work. What a
Thank you.
warrior of light you are. Wonderful. Well, I would like to give some people out there some tips. So, one thing is about the state that you're in. If you find yourself slumping a lot or your
Mm,
head down, and you can get your family to take little photos of you or little
mhm.
videos when you're not watching, really check this out, because when you actually put your shoulders back, your head up,
Yes.
and you'll start feeling different. Another thing,
You're
and
lining your
I
chakras.
remember, well, I remember once there was a team and we were all sitting at desks, and I said, right, everybody, and I put loud music on. I said, we're dancing for like 30 seconds. And they were like, anyway, it went from being completely embarrassed and awkward to saying, is
Yes.
it the dance time yet?
Yes. Exactly.
Because that kind of just shaking up the moving of energy and
Yes.
just trying again. And I think those days too, some days when nothing is working and nothing is flowing or glowing, switch off,
Yeah.
go to sleep, go and have something to eat, go to sleep, start again the next day. I mean, these sound so simple, but when you actually do it, it's very effective.
100% agree with you because sometimes, I've always got piles of work here to do. I'm working on the next book. I'm still doing the audio for this book. I'm going to be moving. I'm into other books as well. And it's like I could look at all of that and go, oh God, there's always something to do. But there are days where I have to put my mental health first, and I go to do something, and it goes, no, you're not. You're going to listen to music right now. You're going to watch things that fill your soul. You're going to go and do something for yourself right now because if you don't, you're going to mess up. And I think it's
Yeah.
listen to yourself because if you force yourself to do something, when you feel that push against you, you will only have to end up redoing it because you're doing
Mm.
it in the wrong state of mind.
But you see, your soul is giving you the cues. It's saying,
Yes.
not now,
Yep.
put
Yep.
that down,
Yes.
not now.
No,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
sometimes that's the synchronicity of, in the case of this book, I wanted to do it 5 years ago and it wasn't the right timing. And it had to be something that, okay, you're going to do it this year, which was last year, and you're going to do it. And then all the people I needed for the book actually ended up being people I was interviewing for podcasts for something different. And then as we're talking, you've got to be in the book, you've got to be in the book. And it was perfect, the people that were in the book. The universe knew what I needed to do and said, now the time is right. Here you are. If we try and push things too soon, and I've done that, so I know it gives a pushback. No, the timing isn't right. So we really need to be in tune, don't we? In tune with the messaging that comes to us and pay attention to
Exactly.
it.
And also too, when we I always say test it, like
Yeah,
with the people that I know and love, and and I actually really love all my clients. Actually, I don't do anything unless I love it.
exactly. Because if your heart
Or
isn't in it,
no, if I
people say,
don't,
who do you interview, Sarah? And I said, all those that come from the heart. I don't care. I have
yeah,
18 different genres. I don't, 19 different genres. I don't care, what the topic is. But is it coming from the heart? Because when it comes from the
exactly.
heart, you feel it. You don't just hear it, you feel it, right?
Exactly, exactly. But what I think is very important for your audience just to have a little think about is that I love the saying is rejection is God's protection.
Mm, I like
And
that.
sometimes when it's a no, just sit back. And if we all could kind of remember a little bit things when we didn't get what we wanted, or we were upset because we rejected. But then maybe, you know, even a couple of weeks down the line or a couple of years or whatever, you say, thank heavens I didn't get that. Thank heavens I didn't
Yes.
do that. Oh my God, if I had done that, oh no, that wouldn't have been good. So there's something also very delicious and wonderful about sometimes not getting what we want, what we think. And that's where I think it's good to kind of detach and take your
Yes.
space, even
Yes.
if it's for a day or two, and then have another look at it and not take things personally. And that's another thing I think. I think in some ways I wasted about 30 years of my life um, trying to, what did I do? What mistakes did I make? Now I'm going to out myself now. But yeah, I actually wasted 30 years taking other people's rubbish personally and thinking it had something to do with me. What a pile of rubbish.
I hear you. I did too. I think it's a Libran thing. We're always trying to find the balance
Oh,
in everything, and we're always trying to please people. I wasted too many years in bending
yes. So
myself into a pretzel to be what other people wanted me to be, and then only rejected because I wasn't who I was. And so I got so confused about who I
you would be
was.
confused because the
Yes,
thing is they were not clear with themselves. It's got nothing to
exactly.
do with us. But the
Exactly.
thing is, I think it's also good to sometimes reflect and think, oh
Yes,
my goodness, but the joy is that you actually did wake up and learn it. So I think
yes.
it's just sometimes write down your learnings
Yeah.
and really appreciate them. And I also think not caring is really good.
Write a book
Not
on it.
yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not that you don't care, but it's about detaching from things
Yes.
and to remember that everybody has their own personal responsibility. But as humans and professionals, when we are being responsible for ourselves and what we're taking care of, just doing that makes everything so much better, you know. And also too with other people, if they want to love you, nothing's going to stop them. If they
Exactly.
like you, they are going to show you. If you somebody's doing business with you, as soon as you want to qualify or disqualify and you ask them for money, you'll see it straight away.
Yes.
Because are they taking responsibility? Are they, and they're just some very clear steps that when you actually learn them, it is a joy because life is just becomes a lot easier.
Hell of a lot easier. And it's that, you know, in the end, life is about relationships. First with yourself, with your loved
Absolutely.
ones around you, but also with anybody that you do any business with. You know, I don't want to, if somebody posted something about today on Facebook, I'm not here for marriage, I'm not here to do this, I'm not here to do that, and I reposted it and added to it, you know, no, I'm not going to marry you. I know I don't want to do business with you if this is the way you do business. Get to know
Mm.
me. If what you are pitching is something I need, then maybe I'll be interested. But you just throwing it in my face, buy now, join now, this now, and you haven't even taken time to say hello. Why would I want to do business with you? Everything is a relationship, isn't it? And take the time
Oh,
to meet
absolutely.
people. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think though, but that kind of behavior is very fear-based. And when
Yeah.
you track it back, it's usually people trying to do something to get money to pay for something.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a lot of people out there under terrible financial pressure. Well, actually, probably every human is in some way, whether you have a lot, a little, in the middle, or whatever it is. But it's up to us to kind of like just put that down and create activities that bring balance and harmony into our finances.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and then that's called, and that's another thing that's incredible, being financially literate. And as for the children, I'm a big believer that the school should be teaching children how to be little mini accountants and balance their checkbooks from the age of 5.
That
You
is
know,
one of the chapters in the book. It's like we do
oh,
not
good.
show, we don't teach children. And she takes it kind of from the age of 15 when they're looking at careers and everything else. You know, what is your relationship with money for a start? What is your family's relationship? Because that has an impact on you. And, you know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
how how are you going to manage your money? And we don't teach that. And what we
Mm,
are teaching through our societal going ons is that unless you make a lot of money, you're not important. And that's something that
well,
we really need to look at, right?
that,
Because, you know,
mhm.
you are not a dollar sign. You are not a
No,
sign. Right.
You see, that's also not right
No.
for many reasons. But I think it's all about instead of like coming from a judgment point of view, it's about coming from a solutions point of view.
Yes.
But my oldest grandchild, he's 4, amazing, and I'm training him up. So when he comes to the studio, I've got a film studio. He comes in and I let him draw on the whiteboard, and I say, what's the strategy, Jude, and how are we going to get some pocket money today, and how much is that are you going to get, and
Excellent.
what can you do with it, you
Mm.
know. So he's just saying, well, he always says he saves it because he says, well, I get the chocolate anyway, so I can save it for a toy. Okay, and then that lovely feeling of the money in his hand to put in the pocket.
Well,
And then I was
my son was, I'm sure he's an entrepreneur. He owns his own restaurant and he really is a businessman. But I knew that right from the word go, where he'd get his father to buy a whole load of candies and then he would sell them from his shop at home. And he'd even sell them back to his father for double the price.
good for him. No,
He knew.
but the thing is, for the children, it's like if they're in an environment where this can be nurtured
Yeah,
and they can be guided and channeled to understand what's going
yeah,
on. And I think the thing is, in humanity, people need to remember how resourceful they are. They don't need somebody to tell them they're good
yeah.
or somebody to tell them they can have the job or not. It's just like, look at, Girl Scouts have got it going on. They're selling their lemonades and cookies.
Yes.
They're not asking anybody.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And that, life again is relationship, but it's also a transaction, right? Because,
Exactly.
whether you're building a relationship in business, at some point, money is going to be a part of the conversation. You first want to know whatever the relationship is it worth? Is there value in this? And then when
Mm-hmm.
it does come down to money, you do know what you're paying for because you've already established the worth, right? And that, it's great when you go to a grocery store, you know how much that loaf is worth, even though it's up 30%, which is ridiculous. But that's another another point of view. But when you're looking at another person, it's what they are offering. How much is it worth to you? How much will it help advance you? Do you feel at home with this person that you really feel there's a synergy that they understand what it is you're trying to achieve? Then the dollar is absolutely worth every penny, or the pound is worth every penny.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what's really important is for everybody in business out there is to make sure that they have something I call branded assets, where they have their services and their whether their product services listed, and it's in a nice branded document, and that they're very transparent with their clients,
Yeah,
and their clients feel totally heard. And the thing is, that you don't have you're shoving something down somebody's throat.
yeah,
It's about, like with my clients, they say, well, you don't sell anything. I say, absolutely, I don't sell anything. We make a list of what do you need, why do you need it, why are you doing it, what would it take to get to do those steps, and take it down step at a time, pay as you go,
mm.
and then you go with the flow.
Yes,
And
I
it
like
works,
that.
and
Yeah,
it yeah, and it works magnificently. And that's another thing with my agency, which is very different. I think it's ridiculous to have these huge goals and this huge field, this big idea. Do pay as you go, and start completing things
yes.
that bring in the money,
But not
right?
only that is that you have this huge, I want to be ba 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 ba. But as you pay as you go and you grow, you realize, no, that actually isn't my target. I've learned
Yeah,
through this growth that that's my target. So if gone somewhere and they're aiming for that, maybe that aim was not meant to be in the first place. So taking the step by
exactly.
step and allowing the growth, it is allowing you the vision of where it really needs to go.
And another magical thing that I've seen with the work that I do a lot, I do something that's called a clarity and direction model. Uh, I don't always do it first, but mainly I do, to make sure, because the thing is, when people go through that process with me, I always say, we're going branding and I'm in some event with you in the future, I want you to be able to look at my face and I can look at your face and we know what we mean.
Yes.
I don't have to say anything to you
Right.
because I am, that's what I need and that's what you will need. So when there's a clarity and direction model made, it's literally where we are sketching out the journey that is needed and what is needed and what it will cost and what it will take to do. That by the time somebody does that with me, they know me very well by then. They will know themselves even better. They'll also know all sorts of things to stop doing, which will save a fortune anyway. And then when you go on to the next thing, you don't have any elephants in the room. You don't have any questions or discomfort, and you know that you're only doing things that is actually going to yield something very good. It's like creating fertile ground all the time. So you create fertile ground, and then we put the seeds in, and then we garden, and then we go on to the next thing.
Yes.
So it's absolutely on purpose branding. There's
I love it.
no accidents on my desk unless I spill my tea.
Well, this is something I've always said to people, be careful what you seed. Really understand the seeds that you're planting, and then nurture and water those seeds, but don't tug on them until they're ready to grow, right? And that's the thing. But so many times people plant seeds, I want this, I want that, and then realize, oh, I got weeds, right? Because you didn't take time to understand what it is you were seeding. And I think that's kind of something we need to really know, isn't it? What am I seeding?
Yeah, and also too, you need to know what kind of earth, whether you need lots of sand in it, whether it has acid, not enough acid, what kind of like chemical kind of stuff that's needed, because different flowers need different things and lights and things like that, going back to nature. But the thing is also to not to try to pick the fruits before the flowers appear.
Exactly.
It's a timing thing. Yeah, you've actually got to do the gardening. You've got to do the nurture. But the thing is, there's lots of things that you can do. Like if we're taking gardens as an analogy, like for example, if we have to, say your son's restaurant is his suppliers have all dried up and we've got to help him. And he's got, 100 hungry people, but we have to grow the food, right? But we do have some bread making materials in the cupboard. Okay, so you're making the bread, I'll grow some cress. You know how fast cress grows?
Right.
We could make cress sandwiches from all of them, right? We can even make our butter by churning it. From resourcefulness, we've got something quick that we can do. Now, of course, that's not what we want ideally in the restaurant, but the thing is, in businesses, you have these times where the cash flow dries up.
Yes.
Or where you've got like I said to somebody today, one of my clients, they were like hyperventilating about money, and I was like, no, you don't. So please breathe, because you're not taking it out of that purse. You're making a purse where money will appear, and you take it out of that.
Right.
And then she said, "Oh, I wish I'd met you years ago." That's what I get a lot from people. I wish I'd met you years ago.
Because that's your gift, is the way you see things. And like, with my son with his restaurant, 3 days before lockdown, he had snapped his Achilles heel. And I went over to help him and help the restaurant, etc. And 3 days later, there he is in a cast. He's been interviewed on TV. What are you going to do to pivot? And it's like, okay, well, we're just going to do takeout. And because of the lesser staff, we'll minimize our menu. And then that led to massive amount of catering and so many other things that it is, don't panic. Stuff happens. What can you do? We focus so much on, oh, I can't do this, but what can you do? Focus on what the can is.
Yeah, but this is something that I always say when I'm working with people. Show me the pain. Show me your client's pain. Because where the pain is, come up with a solution, and there's the money.
Yeah.
And there's the money for them and you. So the thing is, people like, panicking. It's often these challenge times, they're for growth. It's about how you can actually step back and how you can be resourceful and what is the good stuff you can bring out, or what is it that you need to see that you're not seeing, because you don't know what you don't know. And it
Be
doesn't
willing to
mean,
ask other people what they're seeing, right? And
well,
you know,
just start feeling yourself. Do you
yes,
know how many
yes,
people have so many great ideas and they talk themselves out of
I
it?
know. Yes,
I
I
think
know.
the cemetery is full of those
Oh
people.
God,
Woulda,
absolutely. I wish I
would have, should
had.
have. I
Yeah,
wish have.
yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm.
they're sitting on their tombstones, thinking, God, I wish I'd done
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. And as you know, I've always been a person of I don't know what I can do until I try. And so it might
Hmm.
take me a little while to get around there, then I'll go and try it and then find out if it's for me or not. But how do I know if I don't try? And I think if we're just willing to be more adventurous, a little more wondrous, and understand we don't have to go into everything knowing it all, but what we do need is a good team around us that when we don't know, we've got someone to go to, right?
Yeah, so you can, or even give good people to ask, you
Yes.
know. And also too, I hear people kind of say, "Oh, it's okay for you. You are so well connected, and it's okay for you." And I go, "Well, you know what? Oh, thank you for thinking of me in that way. But actually, Have you ever thought how much work it was for me to have all these relationships? Do you know how
Yeah.
much talking I had to do, and
Yeah.
how much driving I had to do?" But the
Exactly.
thing is, what I would encourage people to do, if they don't have like-minded people around them, if they don't have their dream team, set up a coffee club and
Yeah.
invite them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Make it
I'm
happen.
always talking about people having a podcast party, listening to a podcast, and then everyone sharing their different perspective.
That's
Because
a
now
very good idea.
you've got a rounded picture now. Somebody got
Mm,
this, somebody got that, and it just like, wow, I didn't hear that. How did you hear that? And then that is the way we get the bigger picture when we're willing to share our perspectives.
exactly.
Now,
Yeah. Well, so
do
it's a
you,
lot of fun talking to you,
with you too, my darling, you too.
It's
Now, I
it's a
know
good
that you're
jive.
yeah, you're in the UK, and so
Yeah.
obviously you deal with a lot of European and British people. Do you work with people virtually as well around the world?
Oh, I've got clients all around the world. Yeah, I've got, and I have people in America, in Bali, in Mexico, Texas, California, LA. I don't have anyone in the North Pole yet,
Nobody in
but I
Canada.
do.
Come on.
Well,
Come on,
Canada,
Canadians.
I've actually done media launch in Canada. That was very successful. I love Canada. No, globally, and I also do speak fluent German.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yes, and I always say, why do the village or stay in the village when you can do the whole world?
Yeah,
I'm
but I mean, it's a
international.
global village, isn't it? You make
Yeah,
villages everywhere you go.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
I
beauty of
mean,
it.
I don't. And luckily, I also think because of my days when I used to do a lot of design and building and go all over the world, leading teams of guys and carpenters, and we used to do all this amazing stuff. I'm that girl that will pick up the phone, get on an aeroplane, and go too.
Mm,
I don't see distance. Like I wouldn't say, oh, I can't possibly go here. I can't possibly do this. We'll see, well, how can we make this happen? But we have so much technology,
yes,
is
exactly.
the wonderful thing.
Yeah. So, like somebody comes to you, whether it's small or big or solopreneur or big project, what is the first step that you take them through?
Oh, well, first of all, we have a really nice chat. So we have a discovery call, and we both have, if we have a cup of tea or whatever we want to drink, and we'll book in a little time and we'll have a chat. And then based on that chat, I'll give recommendations. But usually what happens, the person is saying, well, thank you for describing that so clearly. I'll be ready to do that next month. Or can we do that now? You
Right.
know? Or let me talk it over with my other half. And I go, no, 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 don't talk it over the other half. Get the other half on the Zoom. Are they there? Peter,
Yeah.
Amanda, where are you? Would you
Right.
like to join in? Usually they don't, right? But sometimes they do. No, the thing is, it's about, and another thing too, I've never advertised, which is really weird. I've never advertised. People show up, and every time there's certain people show, or my clients show up, you kind of see this little light of blue spark, and then I think, oh, there's another one to switch on. Here we go. There's
Yes,
heaven
I
sent.
love it. I mean, you were referred by Stephen to me, so
Oh,
I
thank you,
I have
thank you.
publicists and I have people that refer, and it's so nice to have that because you know they're in the same vibe tribe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the beauty of it is knowing your vibe tribe. Now, your podcast starts next week, April 9th, all right?
it
And
does.
tell us about that and where people are going to find it.
Well, where people will find it, first of all, they'll find the link on my website, which is my name. So all you have to write is my name and .com.
Can you spell
And
your name out for the people that are listening, please, hon?
absolutely. So the name is Daphne Diluce. So Daphne is Daphne. Diluce is spelt Diluce.com. Now, if you put Daphne Diluce in Google, there's only one of me, and I do have like blonde hair, green eyes, and a cheeky smile, and you'll find me. Yeah. And also too, the email is also very easy. It's my name, Daphne at daphnedelucci.com.
Excellent.
Yes.
And of course,
So it's
you're on LinkedIn and you're on YouTube,
yes,
and I've got rawmediacreative.com as well.
yeah, rawmediacreative.com. That's a company that I have a partnership with there. I have that too. In fact, I've got a few websites, but the thing is, I like to lead with my name and my website because find me and then I can, show appropriate websites.
Exactly.
Like I still do design and building and all that stuff because also with some brands, they want to do a brand refresh. So they might have a boutique hotel or they might have a commercial building or it might be a startup. It might be, or it might be that gorgeous girl or guy who's just started making candles and they're getting all these orders or they've got amazing following and they're making money, a lot of money for someone else, but they really could do with doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's I am so abundantly grateful for communication. So
Exactly.
I don't have any fixed thoughts on who should contact me.
Right. It's all those that resonate. That's the point, right? All those that
Exactly.
resonate. And,
Yes,
this is the next step. Take the conversation and see if
exactly.
there is a
Yeah.
synergy. And you don't know what you need from Daphne until you have that conversation, right? But the inspiration begets invitation. When you're inspired by someone, you're invited to take action. And my motto is
Exactly.
listen, learn, and apply, right? So,
Exactly. And
yeah,
also don't be shy for a chat. And the
right.
thing is, I've also with this intention of the soul too, it will be a wonderful thing because then I can advertise webinars as well,
Yeah.
where people can come and have webinars for all sorts of wonderful things, and then they get their chance to do Q&As,
Yes.
so people can ask in a group, if they're not
Yeah.
quite ready. Yeah.
Yes. The thing is, it's take the action. It's nothing to book a call and have that conversation. Maybe you're ready, maybe you're not, but maybe something that she says to you goes, okay, I'm not going in that direction. I'm going to do this and I'll come back later. The thing is you don't know what you need. You don't know if there's a connection until you make that call. So just book a call with her and find out. But
Mm.
I've interviewed an awful lot of branders where they are very much heavy on the branding, right? And
Mm.
designing for you. But what Daphne does is it designs for you to represent you out there for somebody else's need. So if somebody
Exactly.
needs what you've got, that branding needs to represent what they need from you, right?
Exactly. And it has to be universal language too. And the thing is, so, I'm very deep on relationships, psychology, science, art, but at the same time, I'm a huge artist.
Mm-hmm.
And my clients say that my work converts.
Mm.
And I do all my own art and graphics myself. I
Wonderful.
don't send it off to some person to do.
Right.
I actually do it myself. I have people that will populate things once
Yes.
I've done them, you know, and I'll say, look, you see that piece, make that, and do that and that. But it's all original artwork from me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that means that it's going to be unique to you, right? Nobody else
exactly.
is going to have it, and that's what you want, you
No,
know? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. This has been utterly delightful. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing all your wisdom. I love the approach that you have because it's truly encompassing the whole of the person to understand what they are doing, why they're doing it, whom it is for, and not just churning something out, but really making that connection of representation, but also for them knowing, you know, what that next step is, or, you know, if even if they're going in the right direction or not. And this is what we need as business owners is people not only supportive, not only have skills to share with us, but also feel they've got your back, right? They've got your back. They understand what it is you're trying to do, and they want to see you succeed. And, you know,
Exactly.
we should all want to see each other succeed because we all
Exactly.
benefit from it that way.
Exactly. But I do have very artful, creative, inspiring conversations with everybody. And I know I can put my name to that. And I know that everyone would agree to that. But I also say to my clients, I'm your evergreen product.
Mm.
I'm here if you have the good days or the bad days.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
what about, and you know, it's no good having someone in your team who doesn't want to know when, you know, you've had some massive rejection or somebody's copied you or tried to, or somebody's found a frenemy in your camp,
Mm.
this kind of thing, or something in your personal life affected you and you're just really having a shit day,
Yeah.
excuse the French. Yeah,
We all
so
get
it's
them.
important to be, yeah, it's important to be evergreen and be there in the good and the bad times.
Yes.
Otherwise, you don't have the masterpiece, dark
Exactly.
shadow and light.
Exactly. And you need the contour of both. It's extremely important.
Exactly,
So again,
exactly.
DaphneDiluce.com. You reach out there, you'll catch the podcast there. And don't forget to tune in and continue to hear this wisdom that she is going to impart. Is it going to be weekly or bi-weekly, or how often are you going to be doing your podcast?
Well, you know, I am not sure. I think I'm just going to get going.
And
And I
see
would
where it
say
goes.
I will actually, I've put myself on in my own portfolio as one of my own brands because so I'm going to see what Daphne thinks I should do. Yeah, this is so fun. You know, I'm hoping that there will be weekly. I hope that they'll be weekly, and they might be bi-weekly to sort out in the beginning. But you know, I also want to reach out there to the world. If there are inspiring people who love to talk about their soul and how their soul has got them places, please do contact me with interest on
I've
being a guest.
I've got
Yeah,
loads of people that you would love. Absolutely, you know,
yeah,
and
because
you know, for me, the soul and the heart is the very
yeah.
core of our being. So yeah.
But this is so important because the thing is I've always been that person who wants to shine a light on other lights
Mm,
and give people a voice and a chance.
yes.
Well, I don't need to give them a voice; they have a voice
Yes.
already.
Yes.
But to help,
Give
to
them the
help,
microphone.
well, give them
Yeah.
the audience, the
Yeah.
lovely people can hear them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Connectivity, that's what it's about,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
we need it so much in this world right now. You know, when one succeeds, we all succeed. And that's the important thing to know because it elevates our consciousness. It elevates us to a higher frequency. And that is where the healing is. That's where the love is. So if you love what you do and you love whom you serve, then you are extending that love and that vibration out into the universe, which helps heal our planet and heal us human beings. So it's very important that each and every one of us
Exactly.
step up to that
Couldn't have
higher
said it.
frequency.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you so much, Daphne. It's been wonderful having you here, fellow Libran. We've kept things in a nice seesaw here today. And for everybody else out there, that you're looking at branding and realize branding is your calling card. It is the invitation. It is where people take notice of you. And it's not just the beautiful graphic, it's what's beyond that graphic that represents. And it's this is something that you need to know. So reach out to Daphne and let her help you on her way. And don't forget to listen to her podcast, which you will find on her site from April 9th. So to everyone else out there, have a good day. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.